Welcome to the Dyson's Effect.
A show about everyday situations, issues, and topics we talk about and give our opinions.
We may even listen to yours.
We are your hosts, Johnny,
And Theresa.
also known as Mr. and Mrs. Dyson.
Hey, we're back. This is Johnny,
And this is Theresa.
and this is another episode of the.
Dyson's Effect.
So, I want to get right to this topic because this is a topic I heard on the radio, and it is very interesting on how certain people believe in their thought process, especially when it comes to kids in the play. So, let's get right to it. There's this woman who's recently been divorced from her ex-husband at this point, and they have a 2-year-old son. So the 2-year-old son has graduated from college. He's now 18, graduated from college, everything is fine. But around that time she got divorced from her, she also remarried someone. So this new person that she remarried been also in this son's life for 16 years. Everything in this process, over the 16 years, this mother and the ex-husband has been co-parenting. They've been co-parenting, and every other weekend he spends time with both of them. So one weekend he's with the father, and the other weekend he's with the mother. So the current husband gave the wife an ultimatum, basically saying, hey, a child that age shouldn't be coming back and forth at 18 years old. They need a place to stay. They need to make a commitment. So either he's going to stay here or he's going to stay there. But he can't be both anymore because he's 18. The wife, and he also said, before I forget, he also said, if you can't make that decision, we need to go ahead and get a divorce. So the wife said, well, why don't we just go ahead and get a divorce then? Because this is all he knows. This is what the son all knows. He shouldn't have to choose. She said he shouldn't have to choose between both parents because it's like he's choosing which is the best parent to live with. So she's okay with getting a divorce. The question is it okay for them to get a divorce based on this situation from the woman's perspective and from the current husband's perspective, based on this co-parenting thing that they have going on? That's heavy.
Yeah, my thing is, though, he's been doing it his entire life. He's been in his life since he's 2, so it's kind of like he has 2 fathers. What changed? Just because he turned 18, he still don't. That doesn't make any sense. So I feel like there's more to that, and maybe that is an excuse that is being used, because I don't see anything wrong with him going back and forth from house to house. He's 18, so he may be moving out soon, So I just think maybe that he wanted a divorce, and he felt like that was probably the easiest way to get it.
Right.
And he might have knew that she would pick her son, over him.
Right.
As well. But for me, there's a lot of that's a lot missing, because what happened is like you changed overnight with the decision or being okay with him to go from his father's house to his mom's house, or whoever's house, whatever. So I don't know. I don't know if he should have put it out there. Like, is that worth a divorce? That's why I'm saying this has to be something else, because a divorce isn't, especially if you've been married that long, a divorce isn't anything that's small after so many years. So for you to just throw that out there, I feel like it's something else.
I agree, and also this is not their first issue. So if our whole marriage is based on what my 18-year-old son does, we been had issues. Like this is not nothing new. This is probably the opportunity for you to to unveil whatever that's been going on. And I think now, I think I said this before. I think now people are more apt to throw in the towel. Like people know they can go do something else, or they know they got options. They know, like they don't. People don't strive to have a 30, 40, 50-year marriage like they used to. Like they okay, like if they in the marriage for like 10, 15 years, they okay with like, all right, this was a lifetime. Like, because it's so common for a marriage not to work, period. So if they get in and get them 15, 20 and under, they like, hey, we did it. I can go do something else.
And another thing is, you've been in his life since he's been 2, so you don't think that's going to affect him some kind of way that, his mom was given that kind of ultimatum? Or what's the relationship like between them? Maybe something happened with their relationship because he is 18. When they get that age, they feeling themselves. So
Interesting.
maybe they had a disagreement that led to this, but...
Yeah, and he know who his daddy is.
Right, because
he spent time with his daddy. Like,
right.
And not now, and I don't want to say in a perfect world, but in a sense, he can have a plus by like, okay, I know who my daddy is, but this is who my mom was with. But like, man, I could have the opportunity to have like 2 men in my life to give different perspectives, because I know growing up, I had perspectives from many different people that had many different educations, many different backgrounds, experiences, and so on and so forth. So that's if you got one is your father telling you one thing, then you got this person that you may or may not view as a stepdad. That's the interesting thing. If you may or may not view him as a stepdad, the information is received different. So if the information is received different, how do you, from a young man to from a boy to a young man now, how do you take in that information, take in that data from him? Because do he view him as his stepdad, or do he view him as this is dude my mom is married to?
Right. Because
to shed a little light on it, to talk about this situation, my mother never remarried. She had a boyfriend that she was with for a long time. But when she got with him, it's going to be kind of hard to describe, but I'm sure I can describe it. When she got with him, I was already a teenager, and I was already doing a lot of the things that I was doing. And I was around my uncles. So, and he knew how I got around, getting around the streets and family. He know I'm around my uncles and my family and all that stuff. No disrespect to him. I don't need a stepdad. Like, I didn't need you to be. I respect him as a man. I never disrespected him. I think we got into it maybe one time, maybe, and that was it. But that was around the beginning, so But I never disrespected him or nothing like that, and we never had it out. And I'm the oldest boy, so we never had it out. But I never seen him as my stepfather, and they didn't get married. But I never seen him as my stepfather. But he was with my mama, cool. And the environment him and my mom had, laid back environment, none issues, no big thing, nothing like that. But I didn't see him as my stepfather. Like, I didn't come to him for fatherly advice, if that makes any sense. I mean, and that's nothing against him, because the wisdom and everything that I was getting from everywhere else, I mean, unless you was adding to that wisdom, I couldn't see you as a stepfather. And I know who my father was as well. That makes a big difference from a boy to a man's perspective. So that's what I'm saying when it comes to him. Like, he spent time with his father. Like, I'm going over my father's house next weekend. You see what I'm saying? And so if they had friction or not, because sometimes when boys turn 13 at teenage age, they need to be checked a few times. It's gonna be friction when it's too much. It don't even have to be a lot of testosterone. 1 two men, one boy, one man, that's enough testosterone. Like it's a lot sometimes. It may not be, and it's testosterone energy in the room.
Yeah, I believe something must have happened to where that decision came. But I felt like it was definitely um, a harsh, I guess, ultimatum to give someone.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, was this marriage on the rocks anyways, or this is just the straw that broke the camel's back? There's just a lot of questions I have about this. I don't think it should have went that far to where you're saying you want a divorce from someone that you've been married with for 10 years.
Right.
So that's why I'm thinking there had to be other issues within this marriage, because a marriage is not like signing a paper and it's over. Especially if they have a house together. They have build things together. If you have businesses, it's just, you're spending a lot of money going back and forth to court. So I think the marriage probably was on the last of it, and this is probably was like the last straw. I don't think that's a fair decision to give her, because how are you going to do something for so long and then just stop? Yeah, like I don't think that was fair enough, especially if he just graduated. You're not giving him time to get a job and, you know what I'm saying, get money saved to get a place. Like, I just don't think that was a fair decision. And do you have kids, of your own?
Good question.
So there's just, I don't think, and then maybe she's better off, not being married to someone like that. If it boiled down to you're throwing all of our years away of being together in marriage over this.
Now, there's layers to this too. So I want to see if we can peel the onion back on these to see if we can go to the bottom of the ocean. So also, one of the women that was on the radio show, she said that she has a child by someone, but her child is a little bit younger, maybe around 13, 15, no. I think they was in college. Her child was in college, and they was divorced and they broke up. And she said both of them go to their son's football game together and sit side by side together, and maybe with their mates and so on and so forth. And they cheer their son on together, right? Now they also have the fantasy. And I'm going to say this is a fantasy. It can happen, but it's a fantasy. The Will Smith and his ex-wife and his son and Jada Pinkett all get together. Sometimes she comes over. At one point, I think she was spending the night at their house or something like that, or something to the effect. And that is the type of relationship. So, what is the relationship between the ex-husband and the mother? As in, what is it like? How do they talk to each other? Like, is it quick high and by?
Yeah, are they co-parenting, or as their son got older, they don't have any communication because he can communicate directly with his son.
Or hypothetically speaking, what if the current husband think they always have something going on? Like, why are you talking to him? Like, because I know certain people. Like, what is their relationship? You know what I'm saying? Whatever their relationship, what is their relationship is? Because I have family members, friends, that the baby mother just never goes right. It can go right. That's why I said the Will Smith, the Jada Pinkett situation, and even people, the celebrities, entertainers, they can get along because they have money. They got different arrangements where they can figure things out. Those are fantasies. Like, that's not common. That doesn't happen a lot. Now, it can happen, but if I'm going to speak in the majority of the issues, not the minority of the issues, in the majority of the issues, even if you have money, even if you can make the circumstances work, it never gets along. It never goes right. Mm-hmm. It never goes right. It never goes right. When it's an ex, it never. Even if the child's mother don't want to call her a baby mother. Even if the child's mother is married with someone else, can have a supposedly happily marriage. It never goes right. Like it's always some type of friction. I don't know why it is. It's just always something. And then, as I said before, a woman can hold a grudge to as long as they live. So it just never goes right. I don't know what it is. So what if? And then I'm gonna turn the tables a little bit. What if the ex-husband always had a grudge against him, or always try to do sneaky stuff or something like that? Like, I don't know. That's a layer that that they lightly touched on. That it was like, what's been going on for this 16 years to make him feel any type of way in regards to that? Now, as far as their relationship, because one thing I want to talk about or bring up that's real heavy is the ultimatums. I think all ultimatums are wrong. I think whenever someone give you an ultimatum, like, look, you're going to do this or this is going to happen, that's it. Like, I think those are wrong. Like, without a discussion, without maybe counseling, if we need to go to counseling or something, like, without anything, like, if you do this, that, like you just going to give an adult an ultimatum. And that goes for all ultimatums. Like when certain women say either we're gonna do this or get married, even though they have a right to do that, even though they have the right to be married, if they don't discuss it out and have a road to getting married, it's an ultimatum. I think all ultimatums is wrong. Like, I don't care how you cut it.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole situation is now. Did they have people call in on this?
Yes. The people that called in was like, yes, she needs to just go ahead and divorce him. They was on, because I want to also go into a little bit of it gradually. The people that was calling in was like, yeah, she needs to go and marry him, and she needs to go ahead and divorce him, because if she go ahead and divorce him, he been feeling like this anyway, and the women was like, he want her to choose him over the son, this and that. I think it was a little bit more than that, because I don't think it's the choosing part, because they already been together for 16 years. So a person can say that yeah, he wanted her to choose him over the son. Yeah, and they were still calling him a child, which, it can be argued, that can be a good argument if he's considered a child or not. A lot of people that was calling in that I heard was basically saying that, yes, she needs to divorce him. Yes, she needs to leave him. Now, one of the guys that called in made this very imminent, and he made it plain, but I know this can be difficult for a lot of women, because he said he has a daughter, and he was married and has a daughter, and so on and so forth. Every woman he gets in contact with, he lets them know, hey, my daughter is first. Like, anything we got going on, my daughter is first. And, if we're going to have any type of relationship, I'll stop doing everything with my daughter. Like, he's like, hey, if you don't like it, I get it. We can, go our separate ways. And I think that certain people, man, they just want to be loved. They just want to be in a relationship. A lot of women don't seek these people out, ask them the right questions, and say, hey, this is where I'm at with my 2-year-old son. So the foundation is set before it even, so don't.
But the thing is, it sounds like that's what was going on when they got together. So that's what I'm saying. It just sounds like he wanted a divorce, and that was more of an easier route to take. And it sounds like they may have had the discussion before as well.
Probably.
Or an argument before about it, and he decided, well, it's this or divorce.
Probably.
So.
Probably.
Because it sounds like that foundation was set. Like, it wasn't nothing out the blue. He's been doing it for 16 years. So
16
why?
Years. The boy's 18.
Yeah, why And he's probably not even about to be staying with nobody in a minute, depending on what he's choosing to do, in his life, his adult life. So I just think so many times our culture, when your child turns 18, they want to just stop all responsibility. No.
I was going to get to that.
Like, that doesn't mean your child doesn't need you to help them through the adulthood. But for some reason, we think because our kids turn 18, we done.
I was going to get to that. When I was working for Rent-A-Center at the time, and I was talking to a guy, older guy. He was probably in his 40s at the time. And he was like, yeah, my daughter turned 19 or 20. He's like, yeah, she's still young. He said, but once you have kids, you always gonna take care of your kids. Like, you might not be giving them no money or something like that. But it's gonna come a time like you always gonna, like, if you're a real parent, you're always gonna be doing something for your children. Like, no matter what's going on. And for some reason, that was like 15, 18. That always stuck with me, because if you ever pay attention to, like, people that are really involved in their children's life, like, they are always involved in it. Like, when they older, like, and I'm talking after 18. So-and-so got a good job. I'm finna just drive down there and see their new apartment. Or something that one of their child has first grandbaby. So
and I think I will be that involved too as well. Like, I'm not just like, if just say Gianna have a baby because she's moving away. Yeah, I'm gonna be in Ohio.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not just, she grown, she'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But a lot of us do that. Like, some people put their kids out at 18,
I was gonna hold back on that, because that's a good heavy piece that they was talking about. But seeing being that she brought it in with the ultimatums, okay. I want to say this part first. Now, this is heavy. This is what I disagree with when they brought this up. So, to play devil's advocate, let's play devil's advocate. Let's talk about the current husband and his situation. He may be, to play devil's advocate, he may be trying to get this young man to have a plan. Okay, you 18. Let's just say he's not for sure on what he's doing. You need to get a plan. All right, what you gonna do? You need to do it now. You need to do it this. Okay, figure this out. So on and so forth. And maybe that's his approach to it. And maybe he's more stern than the father, the real father, the biological father, I'll say. So maybe he's more stern, and maybe that's where they bump heads at. Maybe. It's a big maybe. So, one of the things that they said on the radio is, if you let your child graduate high school without a plan, you failed as a parent. And I disagree with that.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Please tell me why you disagree, and I really want to hear this.
I mean, yeah, they graduated, but did you graduate with a plan? Or plans are plans. That plan may not go through. Then what? Yes, you should have plans, but I didn't fail because you didn't have a plan.
Right.
I can tell you to get a plan and give you the tools necessary to get this plan, but if you don't put forth the work to do it, I didn't fail. And my thing is, they still have time. They're only 18. It's not like their life is over, because half of them don't know in this generation. They don't know what they're going to do. They're living day by day. They don't know. They don't know what they want to do in the future, and if they do, that changes as well. Just because you have a plan that, hey, I'm going to go to college for this, you know how many people changes their majors within the 2 or 4 years they're there? So no, I wouldn't say that you failed as a parent. You planning your life ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm here to help you along the way if you need help, but It has nothing to do with me. And nowadays, these kids think they grown when they hit a senior year in high school. So I can just imagine a senior year in college. Like, it's only so much you could do. You could just be there to be encourage them and to help them along the way. But you can't force anyone that's technically grown to do anything.
Yeah. Remember we was living in Ohio. What was the Ohio test? The you had to take before they graduate.
I forgot.
Well, anyway, Dorothy, her son didn't. So, well, let me explain for the people that don't know, because it's in certain states, but not all of them. For seniors, right before you graduate, you have to take like a test to graduate.
No matter if you've been a honor student all the entire 4 years, if you don't pass this test,
You don't graduate.
you don't graduate.
You don't graduate.
I think they might have stopped it.
They stopped it. I think they stopped it like 2-3 years ago, something like that. So now this is the thing: if you finish school and you don't pass that test, you get to take it every year. It's stupid. It's so stupid. But that's what they had. So Dorothy's son, the oldest son, just didn't pass the test, so he just didn't graduate. And she was like, "Well, I think I failed as a parent." I'm like, "You can't put that based on your whole parenthood of his whole life. Like,
Right.
he like just because he didn't get it, and or just because he ain't. I mean, he could be not knowing his situation, but what if he dyslexic or something and a genius? What if he's like what if he autistic and a genius? Or what if he just like he ain't good at tests? It's people that's billionaires that's not good at a test. Like your parenthood shouldn't be based on that. So to that point, I don't think that whether a child graduates and whether they graduate and whether they have a plan or not, you fail as a parent, because these kids have so much at their hands right now that they don't have to go to college. They don't have to. They don't have to.
And a lot of now 18-year-olds are entrepreneurs. They're doing hair, they're
Right.
barbering, they're there's a lot of them out there that's working for themselves at 18. So they don't always need to go to school to become something, but yes, they do need a plan. Now, if they don't make that plan till they 20 or 21, then that's on them to deal with that. But they're still young. A lot of us now, we had kids when we were 18. You know what I'm saying? So did we really
16,
make a plan?
15. Yeah, Lord, yeah.
You know, so I just our kids didn't make no damn plan, but that don't mean I failed as a parent. They got to figure out life when they gonna figure out life.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they figure out sooner than others. But
Right.
Some later than others. But that don't mean I failed as a parent just
Right.
because they didn't get their stuff together. And also, my parenting is not based on what your success is.
Right? Yeah. So a lot of parents
That's-
want their kids to be successful,
Yes.
so they can get a pat on the back.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
No.
like
your child's accomplishment is not your
That
accomplishment.
ain't got nothing to do with me. Like,
Yeah.
if you end up homeless and that's on you. You chose that route. That don't mean I was a bad parent. Like, you chose that route. Like, I'm not finna. I'm not carrying no weight because this person. Like, these kids have so much at their hands. Like, you can literally Google everything. Whatchamacallit was telling me that's how he learned how to drive a truck, like just a stick shift, and I just okay, you just do that, and did it, messed up a couple times, now you know how to drive a stick shift. Like, you can literally that also from your website. That's how I learned how to fix your website. I have no education in web developing and anything. I ended up learning how to fix this website off of YouTube, then reading articles, reading certain codes and all that stuff, and figuring, okay, let me put that in, let me put this in, add this, subtract this, end up figuring certain things out. So why should they go to college? Like, why should from their perspective, if they don't want to, they are not in into half of the things that we are into. So if they don't have a plan, that's not based on me. That's just my opinion. That's not based on me. Mm-hmm. Now, for the piece of resistance, we talked about this before, but we're going to talk about it again. Another thing that the radio host was saying was that he had a hard childhood. I mean, I won't say childhood, but he said he had a hard upbringing because his mother put him out.
Right.
And the other radio host, which was a woman, said the same thing. Her mother put her out.
Like on TikTok, I see so many kids that are like 18, 17, 18, and they're on this app crying. They just got put out and they're homeless. They're living in their cars. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Like, how do you even have a heart to put, especially a 17-year-old?
Yeah.
But
I think
it happens.
For some reason.
More than we think.
Well, I ain't gonna say for some reason. I know the reason. For minorities, I know it happens in some Mexican communities. I know it happens in certain Puerto Rican communities, Latino, Hispanic, what have you. And all of the intertwined with that. Not the Asian community. I don't see it in the Asian community. The Asian community, from what I've seen, it's not big. Certain Mexican communities, they'll pack their house tight. But for some reason, we believe when a child turns 18,
right, your job is done.
Your job is done, for one, and for two, you kick them out of the house. Like, why do you? And just see, this is the thing with this. I was explaining this to my friend Steve that when we was having a discussion. So I'm going to equate this to technology. Technology advances every, I think it's 16 months now, 16, 18 months, or not. At one point, I think it's now 12 months. So technology advances. So something else is going to come out in the next 12 months or 18 months or whatever. Something else is going to come out. Something else is going to come out. So for that to advance, every generation is smarter than next generation on. If you, that's something, and that's something to think about. Every generation is smarter, so our kids is going to be smarter than us because they're going to create the best technology into something else. Hypothetically speaking, our generation has the Tesla. So could you imagine what the next generation, as far as the next elevation of automobiles would be? All right. If that's being said, why would we listen to the education of our parents or grandparents or great-grandparents when it comes to putting the child out? Educational-wise, they drop the ball on a lot of different things on relationships, building a relationship with their children, building a relationship with their kids, building a relationship with their grandkids, building a relationship in so many facets of life. Why would we continue that trait of putting kids out and it was bad parenting? Mm-hmm. Like, and how many of us seen how that didn't work? Right. And we continue to do that.
Right.
Like why are we continuing to put a child out that mind may not be developed enough
Definitely not.
To gravitate to certain things? Because this is another thing, and I want you to think about this, baby. You know how our age, we say that our generation, that no one taught us about money or how to invest money or debt. No one taught us how to do that. Like, sometimes we quick to put the blame on our parents on the stuff that we didn't know, as we just heard earlier this last week when someone did that, right? Well, when you find out is when you find out, right? Mm-hmm. So now that you got the information, what you gonna do with it now? Right. Is you gonna worry about the extra amount of years you didn't know about it? Because when you find out, let's go back to my point I said earlier. That generation wasn't education, didn't have the education enough to give it to you. So now that you're in this younger generation, you have this education now. You are more apt to it. You are more smarter. So you have it. You have it right here in your hands. You got it. So, and you're younger now. Then probably your parents got the information on what to do with that, what to do with money, what to do in a bad situation, what to do in relationships. So now that you have it, okay, what you gonna do? So you done got this information. Let's say you 25, 27. You done got some information that you wish you would have got when you was younger. All right. So what you gonna do? You gonna still live off the old information in your 30s then?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what you gonna still say your parents didn't teach you that? You 30 now. You in your 30s. Like, you can't take that? Oh, well, I done messed up. Fix it. You know that you got the information now. See what I'm saying? So, why is we listening to people that had bad information on, like, putting children out? Like, why is that a good idea though? I'm still lost on if our crime rates are high. 1, incarceration is high. 2, 3, our employment hasn't never been fixed. It hasn't never been fixed on many different levels. Housing subsidizations, inflation, cost of living. Well, I figured it out, and maybe they can figure it out. No, that ain't
Right, because it's a different age.
That ain't how it works.
Different things. At 18, these kids are very immature. They
That
don't know if they coming or going most of the time.
When we was on the show with Gumbo podcast, shout out to them. Remember you were saying how Jayana calls you for everything. Calls you for everything. Call you to make her dentist appointment.
Yeah, because she's finally moving out.
Yeah.
In a couple weeks, and she's 20. She'll be 21 in September.
Right. Didn't go to college.
Yeah, didn't go to college. And she's like, well, I want to get braces. Is they going to let me get braces on your insurance? You're on it till you're like 24, 25, John. Okay. I'm sure she'll be calling me 1,000 times.
Yeah, but also, guess what I told her about the braces? I said, hey, everybody in our family got messed up teeth, ain't got no braces. Like, you want to get them braces? You look them up, see how much they cost. They also got the whatchamacallit too. I heard them work the Invisalign thing, but I heard them they get you for that. But you got to pay for the things, and if you lose them, the mouthpieces or whatever, and if you lose them, you got to order a whole nother one or something like that, whatever.
Yeah, the insurance company is going to pay, but I think they like $5,000. I forgot what she'll have to pay out of pocket. It wasn't much, and she's going to pay that, I guess, monthly. Every time she goes to the dentist, they'll put her on a payment plan. But yeah, but I'm sure she's going to call me a million times about things, and like she didn't know that she's moving in. She still has to pay rent and come July 1st.
I just I don't understand the responsibility aspect. Like, why do we feel that we getting rid of responsibility? Like, and to more so, how do you expect a child to pay homage and pay respects to you on Mother's Day, Father's Day, on for doing certain things, helping them, and you put them out? Like, do you don't stop being a mother when they turn 18?
Right.
You don't stop being a father when they turn 18.
Right.
Like, some depending on where these kids live at, once these streets get a hold of them, man, ain't no coming back. I mean, I'm sorry, ain't no coming back, man. I don't care who or what. Like, once these streets get a hold of them, like, that can be prevented. And all these kids need is a little bit of guidance and everything. Just a little nudge here, nudge there, and find out, what they into. But I think that's the biggest thing. So, to go back to, I think, playing devil's advocate with the current husband, I think he was trying to give him playing, all right, look, you need to make a decision. What you gonna do with your life? All right, is you gonna do this? Is you gonna do that? Now, it's probably wrong how he went about it. How he went about it, of course. But also, like you were saying, like we've seen, like what if he think he grown too?
Yeah.
And when they 18, they gonna start coming in and out of the house late. They gonna start, certain things come with that. He might be on the phone late. Or what if he ain't coming in our house late? What if he just up all night eating? Like it's different. You know what I'm saying? Like certain men, that's a problem for him. Like it tests them in a lot of different ways. So I do think he was wrong. I think if he wanted best for the child and wanted to give him a vision, a plan, he could have went about it a different way. I do think that ultimatums are wrong. But if their whole relationship is predicated upon this, I get it. I get it. Like, he wanted out. He wanted out. Or maybe she wanted out. And she was looking for the right opportunity, because I'm going to play devil's advocate with her, too, because he ain't no young man no more. Like, he got to wake up. So, ain't no choosing. You giving him an opportunity to make a decision. So, yes, he got to make a decision. He got to make a decision in life and where he goes, but it shouldn't be based on our marriage. But I think that's the biggest one that I think that, like, they missed it. Like, they didn't talk about all of this much in depth on the radio show. But I think we need to rethink how we are parenting our children these days. Like, I just think we need to rethink that. Like, we need to really rethink on.
Don't parent your children how your parents parented you.
Right. That.
Especially if it wasn't good parenting.
Especially if it wasn't good parenting. And why would you emulate that anyway?
You're right.
Like, why? I don't get it. Like, it's just something that I just really don't get. I don't understand why. Especially, I was reading an article the other day, and a guy was talking about his son coming over for the weekend, and he's staying at his house, and he can't wait to see his son, and so on and so forth. Like, you tarnish that relationship if you put me out.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You tarnished it.
And then, I didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah,
whether I can go sleep on a friend's couch, I'm technically homeless. I don't have an address. I don't have a bed. I'm just homeless, sleeping on somebody's couch.
Now, I do think it comes from people abusing it. You don't want the children to abuse you, so they can just sit there and live with you forever and not get on. Because I have seen the opposite, when it takes a lot of men or young boys to get on their feet. They still 25, 30, 35, still living with their moms. I get it. So you don't want that. But the truth got to lie in the middle somewhere. Like, it don't have to take putting somebody out. And then I've seen it goes to extreme measures. Like, they take away their keys. They change the locks. I've seen mothers do, like, real harsh stuff to their sons. Like, I've seen some rough stuff. Like, wow. Like, it's been rough. Like, and you just tarnish this relationship. Like, over, you thinking this what it takes to be grown?
Right.
Like, I think that's the biggest thing. So, as it equates to this, I think this is not their first issue.
No, it's definitely was some issues, and this was an issue in the past.
Yeah.
It just probably escalated to this.
And he probably didn't like it, and it's probably a whole lot going on. But this was a heavy topic. And I'm glad I heard it, because you hear different people's perspectives, especially women. And on a radio show, they only have so much time to go in depth on it. But I was interesting to hear men talk about it and women talk about it. But one of the things that, like I said, that man said earlier, we we got to start letting people know, like, hey, this is my relationship with my kids. Like, I remember one time I was talking on the phone with Janisha, and somebody's like, man, who you talking to? I'm talking to Janisha. Oh, y'all talk like that? Yeah, we just talking. Like, I don't know what they heard me say, like, but we was just having a conversation, just a regular conversation. Like, and my oldest daughter, Janisha. So, we was having a regular conversation. It was like, oh, like, what is these relationships out here like? With, like, you know, like, what is it built on? You see what I'm saying? Like, how can you get involved with someone and they don't know the relationship that you have with your kids, and they're not willing to help you keep a relationship with your kids? If it's falling off, hey, did you call your daughter? Hey, did you call your son? Hey, did you do this? Did you do that? Did they do all those things in that process?
Right.
You know, like, what's your relationship? Like, you know, like how you tell me, hey, do you talk to your daughter? Nope. Thanks for reminding me. I gotta go call her, see what she's doing. Certain stuff like that. Like, you're gonna be in a relationship with somebody and it's gonna be forgotten.
Right.
Like, we got a lot of work to do, especially in our community. We got a lot of work to do. So we're gonna wrap this one up. That was a heavy topic. This was a good topic. We're gonna get back in contact with everybody. We got some rebuilding things we're gonna do. Some updates we're gonna give later in the future of some stuff we got coming up. How do they get in contact with you?
On social media.
What's your name on social media?
Facebook is just my name. I'm not giving my government name out. Instagram is I am his Mrs. Dyson.
Ain't that the same on Facebook too?
It's just my name.
And for our email, it is, in the back read it is
The Dyson's Effect at hotmail.com.
And on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it's The Dyson's Effect. Get in contact with me as your benevolent coach on Instagram and Facebook, and on Twitter as Benevolent Coach. And as always, it has been a pleasure on this great day for us to greet you. So we're going to end it. Thanks for everybody that listened to us in the United Kingdom. We got new listeners there. In Africa, in Morocco, we got new listeners. More parts of Africa, Alaska, Texas. Thank you for all our new listeners. As always, this is Johnny. This is Johnny.
This is Theresa.
And this is another episode of The
Dyson's Effect.
Peace, love, and blessings.